Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, Rodeo Time, the podcast. We are at the grounds. We're not necessarily at the grounds. We're at another. I came down here. We're doing all these podcasts
the intro?
at the
It's
grounds.
terrible.
Yeah, we're doing the intro right now. Don't worry. Believe me, my listeners are used to this.
I know, but I'm going to tell my listeners to come.
Okay.
And
You are so stuck up. Just like he just tries to keep it going, and then you just like, no, you're gonna stop this one.
Hey, don't make. I mean, like I'm second guessing myself like every day, all the
Really?
time. So
dude, you
like,
seem so confident.
oh, I am.
Like you're leading
Yeah.
this. Yeah, you're. I mean,
That
you're,
part was a joke. Me saying I second guess myself. Ooh, like trying to figure me out. Yeah. So we're at the grounds all day today and tomorrow. I'm gonna get some team roping lessons. The grounds is in Huntsville, Texas, and it's 42 units. It's where you can keep a horse and live while you're in college at Sam Houston State, or if you just you're just needing somewhere to live and rodeo. So great community out there. We were just there. The man with the plan is Jeremy Ray Melancon, a.k.a. Melancon, a.k.a. Lincoln, a.k.a. Lanko, a.k.a. Queso Blanco, a.k.a. Queso.
Captain Queso.
He built the grounds from the ground up, pun intended. And, yeah, here it is 7 years later. So, anyhow, we are at his house with his beautiful wife. These are my best friends. Aww.
Heard that, ladies and gentlemen.
And she is the CEO of Desert Canary Design, which is the couches we're sitting on. She builds overpriced couches.
Well, we don't know yet. We're not sure if it's overpriced or not, but we're going to find out.
So this is their story and my story, and I tell a story I've never told on a public broadcast. I've maybe told 10 people that story.
It's like the prelude.
I don't think I've told 10 people. I think I've told under 10 people that story.
Considering we weren't one of those people.
Jeremy knew about it. I didn't necessarily tell him the story because he was around when it happened. But you get some insider stories of Dale Brisby, Desert Canary Design, turnkey metal buildings, and the grounds. So
It's been a fun run, man.
we didn't actually talk about the grounds in the podcast, but
No,
you
dog.
should
We didn't talk
definitely
about
look it
Desert
up.
Canary Design in the Desert Canary Design podcast. We talked about Jeremy and what a house cat he is and how much we all love him and how wonderful he is.
So we can't wait to get to it.
Now on to the podcast.
I hope people understand my sense of humor.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to
Beep, victory.
Rick McCumber's studio. Is that what you called it just now?
He called it the studio
He
for
did.
sure.
Yeah. This was like a freaking sculptor's paradise.
4-year-old's paradise, too.
It's a lot different from his prior sculpting paradise that he was in.
Yeah, a portable building. 20-year-old portable building.
Is it still there?
But you know what? No. You know what? So a friend of mine dates the guy that runs that ranch now, and they bulldozed all the barns. They dug a big hole, bulldozed the
Oh,
barns.
you're talking about back home.
Yeah, in George West. Yeah, South Texas. And so there's a pond where the barn used to be. There's a pond now.
That's
Crazy.
awesome. I mean,
Dang.
there's different perspectives,
Yeah.
but I bet it looks awesome.
It made me cry, but whatever. Just didn't look right without a trailer house there.
Have you been back? Well, you haven't been back.
No, not since. Last time I was down, we went to go see my grandpa. And
Yeah.
There hadn't been a reason to go back, so I haven't been
Yeah.
back in a long time.
When we went to Los Fresnos, that wasn't the last time you went.
No, we went one time after that. We went to San Antonio Rodeo. We went to some epoxy class.
Yeah.
And then we went down to see my grandpa. Like, oh, okay, we're going to come see Peepaw. And we get down there, and he's on hospice. Like, he is non-coherent.
Yeah.
And we had no idea. And
That was after San Antonio,
Yeah,
right?
and so we left the San Antonio Rodeo and went down to go see Peepaw, while we were there. And we get there, and he's like, the hospice nurse is holding his hand. And we had no idea. And so Jeremy stepped outside and called my dad and was like, hey, Rick, if you want to, it's now or never, And so my dad got in the truck and drove home from San Antonio and was there in time to say goodbye to his dad, and he died the next morning.
Dang.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did y'all not know that?
It was pretty heavy, man.
Was there not
super heavy?
Was there not someone that maybe could have
No, hang on. It was not that no one knew anything. It's just everyone was trying to be positive and all that. Like we did know that he wasn't
Family
doing
didn't reach
good.
out and tell us. We knew he was, like, hey, we need to go see people. If you're in town, it wouldn't hurt to come by and see your grandfather.
Gotcha.
And then so we went to go see him, and we're like, whoa. And
we're also not really like.
Long story short, just non-communication among the family, I suppose. And so thankfully Jeremy and I went down there. And after that, we went down after, Dad had spent some time with his dad. We went to we went and ate food at this little Mexican place in Mathis, and we were talking about death, and I, my dad was bummed out. And I was like, look, we're all going to be there one day. Like, hopefully I'm holding your hand one day, and you're not holding mine. It's just death is a part of life. And then jump forward however many years,
3 or 4.
Yeah, a little while. 3, yeah.
Yeah. My, so after Pop died, I was like, daggum, there goes all the family history. Because I didn't really know a lot of it. And my great-great-granddad had written a book, and which was cool, and I can go to that. But, like, my old man would fill in the gaps. And then, so when he died, I was like, oh, snap. Yeah. There's a few things I would like to know to clear up some. And so I went to my granddad, but he only knew, like, the 4 stories that I'd always heard. Mm-hmm. And I would, like, ask him other questions about family, and he didn't. He had already kind of lost it. It was so sad, but I was like, dang, I didn't realize, which I think it was a matter of a year, which he was still cognizant, but he couldn't tell me, like, lineage.
Right.
Yeah,
Rick was really into that. They did the the family tree stuff, and he had all the books and stuff, and it ended with him, Yeah. It just kind of tells you, like, make what you have of the time you're here, because you're just a blip on the radar.
Right.
So your legacy is up to you, I suppose.
No, he was really good at keeping up with all of that. And
it's like he was always,
in general.
Well, yeah, and he was always preparing not to be here. No, I know that sounds silly, but like,
my dad was not.
Dude, my dad was so aware of his own mortality. And I think he was scared of it. But I remember ridiculing him because he was making all those videos with Slevin in here. And I was like, quit exploiting my kid for Facebook views, quit making these videos. And he was like, I think it would be really cool if, I would think it was really cool if I could hear my grandpa's voice.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh man, that's some perspective.
Right.
And so I quit ridiculing him. I'm so glad I did. I haven't watched any of the videos still, but.
Yeah, because he would have stopped if you'd have continued to ridicule him.
No, it was just a different perspective, like it was just different.
I always wanted to get a podcast with him, but I just kept putting it off. It wasn't that I put it off. It's just that, it's a long drive, and I was like, well, next time I'll do it. Next time I'll do it.
That's okay. He got to teach you a lot of things that he put on the wall of his wall of fame over there, where he taught everybody everything. So.
Yeah, Rick McCumber is a
he cast a big shadow.
Very well known. What would he silversmith? What would you define him as?
Yeah,
artist.
A silversmith and artist.
Cowboy artist.
But would
Cowboy
make
artist,
like sculptures that were just like life size of like somebody on a horse. Like
a monument.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, more importantly than that, like it's just what was like so special about his work is how authentic it was. He was a real cowboy. I can't talk about this. Anyhow, but he was a working cowboy. And then as he got older, it just turns out he was a working cowboy who was incredibly talented,
Right.
And so all of his artwork, it reflects that, and like the titles, the situations, like he made sure everything was correct. The bits were correct for the time era.
Right.
He made those Texas Ranger bronzes, and the gun's correct, and the boots are correct, and the spurs are correct, and the badges is correct, and so everything's super authentic. Yes. And that was super important to him. And I think that was what was really special about
He asked me
work.
one time, he said, he said, why you like Lonesome Dove so much? I'm like, yeah, because it's got Gus and Call in it, And he's like, no, because it's right. He said the guy that was in charge of making sure the
guns were right, and the stirrups were right, and the spurs were right, and the reins were right.
He said, he said, and it's not like this, the way he explained it wasn't like this snobbish thing. It was just like, you didn't notice it because it was right.
Yeah.
Like because it was so well done and and everything fit. It's not that you noticed that the bits were right. It's that you didn't notice that they were wrong.
But you like the final outcome. You like the final piece of art. You don't know it. You can't pinpoint why you love it so much.
Right.
But it's just authentic, and
But he would make like he said there's artists out there that they'll buy little spurs to put on their art. Like every spur, every bit, every piece of hardware that's on one of those bronzes, he actually hand cut out of silver and then cast it into like a plastic thing that he did. And he would cast it into that artwork, but every piece was made by him. So even the tiny pieces.
Not plastic. He would cast it into wax and then he'd put it on the clay. And then when they mold the clay, it would be cast in bronze. Right. It's pretty cool. You know, that was the thing you were talking about, like lineage. I was always gonna, I always wanted to learn silversmithing. You know, like because I could incorporate it into what I do. Because I wanted to be able to make the buttons and the conchos and the just what I wanted to make. I wanted to know the craft to make it. You know, and I always was gonna come over here and learn it. And I just let the time slip. You know,
I was gonna learn to shoe horses. My old man was a good shoer, but that was the one thing I didn't learn from him. That Leroy just switched from leather work to silver work. I just kind of like, dang, that would have been perfect. He'd have come down here and spent a week with Rick. Rick would have loved it, you know.
Loved it, yeah.
A couple of artists.
Yep.
But I mean, you definitely picked up an artistic, you know.
Yeah.
You had artistic tendencies to begin with, and obviously like a craftsman. You're a craftsman like he was, just in furniture.
You know, I feel like that too. Yeah, like it just furniture is my widget.
Any of that time that you would have spent focusing on doing silversmithing would have been time taken away from how far you've gotten in your craft now.
That's true.
And it would have also not given, it wouldn't have been the level of silversmith that you were expecting it to be, because you're looking at his, like, well, I need to get mine there. Well, he spent a lifetime doing it just like you're spending.
Well, it was really nice to have a walk across the yard and order what I wanted. Hey, Rick, I'm gonna need some conchos because I think they look good on this couch, and I need them tomorrow.
For sure, yeah, that's different.
He would shut down and make the conchos or the there was a fainting couch one time that I thought bleed knots would look really cool on, and so I came over here and I pitched the idea to him. I was like, come on, and I was like, but I'm done with it, so I need you to, I need it tomorrow. And he did. He shut down, and me and him, I sat over here and just visited with him, and he made those conchos for me.
Man, he would shut down and cut out sterling silver and engrave scrolls in it to nail it to a 1x4 sword that we had made for Slevin in the shop. Like, I was like, hey man, you want a sword? I'll make you a sword. So I'm over there like working on it with Sanders, so it looks like Link's sword out of Zelda, and then 30 minutes later it's got sterling silver engraving on the handle. And
you know what really sucks is like Slevin wanted a sword for a long time, and so I made him found a stake and I cut it sharp. And I put a cross on it and just nailed it, and I finally made him a sword, and then Jeremy just comes home and is like, that's not going to work, and just one-ups me, and my sword is just in the dirt. I'm like,
but I wouldn't have one-upped you if you wouldn't have started.
Yeah, I am just a girl. So.
Well, let's not act like Jeremy's not the brains behind this whole, I don't know, compound.
He's the leader for sure.
Hang on now. That puts a lot of blame on me when it goes south, or if it goes south. So y'all be careful there.
You also get a lot of credit for how north it's going, Yeah.
Yeah. So we're sitting in Rick's shop, which is connected to Rick's house, which Jeremy built. But he didn't stop there. He built a guest house connected to it with a dog run between the two, which he lived in.
Why him? What about me and these kids he had to have?
So Carly and Jeremy have these kids, and
kid at that point, but yeah.
Of course, his in-laws are so incredibly grateful that their son-in-law built them a house with his construction company.
No, hang on.
And now you have these.
No construction company. They were my first house.
Yeah.
So who trusts their son-in-law to build them a house?
Don't downplay this.
Follow me blindly, please.
Don't downplay this. You built this bad to the bone house, and now all of a sudden you've got these built-in babysitters.
Yeah, no, that was that wasn't just like oh my gosh, I cannot believe that worked out. See, what happened is whenever Jeremy started asking for kids, I was like, I don't know nothing about having kids, and my mom, who does know something about having kids, is 6 hours away. And so we put together a plan to move them over, and rest his soul. I sure gained an awesome baby. You know, I see why Rick was the way he was. Like, my mom is an enabler. Like, she just nurtures us and takes care of us, and she doesn't realize it.
Creating monsters.
She is the backbone to this whole thing that we've got going here, you know. So, creating monsters for sure.
Man, but you get those people around you that like I don't know. It's something about like it's common in our culture. I feel like for everyone to feel like they have to stand on their own. So everyone's working twice as hard as they have to work, and cooking 8 dinners in a family.
When you can just have your mother-in-law cook one for everybody. We have come on. Why has everybody not thought of this?
Hey, look, everybody. You know, we all have
Jeremy's just a house cat too, man. Oh well, if Jeremy leaves, she doesn't cook. I'm not you. Like, if Jeremy is gone, I'm just like, leftovers again, huh? Yeah. Well, I mean, I just, you know, and I'm like, well, we don't cook that because Jeremy doesn't like it, and I'm like, this freaking like.
I think you make all this up when I'm gone.
I'm 100% not making this up.
It's like he's like scheming.
It's like everybody just treats him like he's a house cat and just
scheming seems negative, y'all. It's just
playing us is what it is.
All the way through. Like, look, man.
But how can anybody not like him? He's such a nice boy.
You know, like me and you are in the prime producing years. That's in any past culture, in any history. That's the way it is. Like, you're in a
at
physical
a working
stance.
age.
You're at a working age, right? So you're in your shop working on your craft, producing what you produce. I'm working on producing what I produce. My mom helps us all the time, you know, with all of the books and keeping everything straight, and like is just my right hand person. You know, your mom completely runs our household, helps with our kids. We all live right here close. You know, we've got my dad involved in the mix. We've got partners. We've got everything going on.
He's our neighbor too.
Why not, you know, everybody shining in their purpose, doing their thing?
Yeah, Yaya's much better at momming than I am. And like, I really feel like God sent us Scarlett to get us through this. Like my mom's like purpose is just to piddle around with Scarlett and take care of her. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
that's what she does, you know, and her occupies her time. So I don't know if that's true or not, and I don't know if that's like offensive to say, but
yeah, but think
I'm
about
thankful to have. Yeah, I mean,
how much less.
Of course, I'm thankful to have Scarlett.
How
we can edit all that out, right? I don't want her to see this in however many years and be like, "What the?" Sorry.
No, how much of that success is due to the fact that we know someone that is, you know, cares just as much of our kids as we do, is in that role,
right?
Or
for sure.
about our businesses is in that role,
right?
Or whatever we're doing, you know.
Because I couldn't drop my kids off at daycare and go to work, and like it is for some people, but like if I had the option to stay home with my kids, you know, comfortably, or take them to daycare and go back to my shop, like I don't know that I could. I don't know. That's a hard.
Either way,
I say that, but I don't spend all day every day. I'm sure if like I didn't have my mom who does spend all, I would Spartan kick him in the chest out at daycare as I drove by. Like, just give me some silence. I mean, but right now I'm like, oh my God, I just want to be with my kids because I love them so much. But like, let my mom leave for a long weekend, and I'm like, what time will you be home?
Yeah, after we just discussed the fact that she doesn't even cook when Jeremy's not here. We're not talking about you cooking.
Yeah. Oh, I don't cook when Jeremy's here. I'm like, okay, hot dogs and mac and cheese it is. You know, like, it's sad.
That's the real motivation behind the furniture. Like, look, y'all, I gotta go make this money. Okay, you
Cash
watch
money.
these kids, cook me dinner.
I mean, I would, but you know, like it's income. All right, see you later. Have a good day. Oh, God.
Dude, it's so awesome. Like
we have a good thing going. You know, like it was a huge disruption. Rick dying, like that was a huge
inconvenience.
huge.
Thanks a lot.
Inconvenient at the time, but it really worked out. Man, you got to know. JK.
Morbid humor.
Morbid. He would think it's funny.
It's what you have.
Because that's what I told Mom one day. I was like, you know, like it really worked out for the best because I know I would have never gotten him to take his shoes off at my house, and it would have been like, Rick won't take his shoes off.
This is gonna live forever.
By the way, I told Jeremy, like, I'm an OG friend that gets permission to wear my shoes in occasionally if they're not dirty.
No, for sure.
Because I was friends with y'all when y'all used to let the dogs sleep in the bed with
No lie.
All of a sudden, y'all got all fancy and
I know.
uppity on us.
No, it's not all of a sudden. There is a picture of Jeremy laying in bed with a Bruce, the German Shepherd,
Yeah.
Minion,
That's what
Minion,
I'm
the Golden
picturing.
Retriever,
All
and
of them.
Bailey the Basset Hound, all
Bailey.
in our bed.
Oh,
I
Foster the
remember.
cat.
And Foster the cat, okay? All in our bed.
I remember.
That was the
I can
day
picture
before I
that
went to the
picture.
hospital to have Slevin.
Yes.
The day I brought that baby home and there was dog hair in my house, to the door. Like,
They've all been out. Like, I can't believe they even.
like I went from a dog mom to a real mom real quick. You know, like out you
Yeah.
go, mutts.
Not to be offensive to all the pet moms out there, but
Dude,
Well, you know, and when these kids go on about their business, you know, and graduate, I will be a dog mom
No.
again.
yeah, it's hard to go back to
you're not
that.
going
Yeah,
back.
I know.
No, I'll just keep taking my shoes off.
Well,
at
see, the
door.
thing is like here, now I have them in my shop all day, every day, tripping over them, smelling of them.
Yeah. I don't know. I get mad at animals sometimes.
So we're just gonna meander through this. Like, what do we want to talk about? You got any questions for your old pal Carly? If you need some business advice, like I'm here for you, bud.
No, yeah, I mean, I don't really ever make a plan for these.
Really?
Yeah.
I would have to have like some kind of structure.
We see that.
Yeah.
So what is it? Tell me what it is.
I'm finding that out.
Well, do you ever like listen to a podcast and you're like, okay, what are we gonna talk about? That's how I feel. Like, and I don't want people to feel like that when they're listening to me.
We're not also tightly
So,
wound.
content, go, good content,
I mean, I don't know.
dude. You're ahead of the content game before we ever even knew what content was.
Way before.
And I think that's so freaking cool. Like
My
when we didn't understand
goodness.
what you were doing.
No one understood anything about what was going on. It's extremely obvious now.
Right.
Okay, so we're all gonna pretend
Those
like
1 million followers
Yeah.
would make it
yeah.
obvious.
yeah, of course that
I
was his
mean-
thing. Of course he was making it, but like
I thought of that.
I was gonna do that.
yeah, I always thought
He
you
took
heard
my
that.
idea.
Yeah,
But like you
no, he's like,
you were an influencer before. Like, well, you were
And
working
it was-
towards being an influencer before an influencer was a.
it was specific too. Like I'm gonna make these videos.
My favorite video you ever made though was when y'all tased when
Donnie.
Leroy was the cop
SWAT.
and y'all and he got and it was at the Sugar Shack.
Oh, that
Yeah.
one. Oh, yeah.
You
that
know-
wasn't Donnie.
Yeah.
Sugar Shack was way before Donnie.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. That was me and Leroy and Randy.
yeah.
Yeah.
Man,
And he goes over.
That was my favorite video.
He got, oh,
That is so
jeez.
funny.
oh man,
It was.
it was,
Yeah,
it
but
was
no.
rodeo goods.
Yeah,
there was
rodeo,
rodeo
goods.
goods.
Yeah.
Rodeo
Yeah.
goods was first.
Used
Dale was gonna be
to market rodeo goods.
yeah. And then it was gonna be Second Amendment camo.
Yep.
Yep. Out of
So
guns. Out of guns.
nobody knows that.
Really?
Nobody
I
knows
don't
that.
think I've ever talked about that on a
Your
podcast.
old buddy here, the Lincolns, know that.
Yeah, I know that's right. But
Second Amendment camo. I remember that. You even got
because I was
printed up.
yeah, well, see, I was trying to get it trademarked, and so I was working an auction. Somebody had told me we had already been making videos, but I had no apparel for Dale. And I went to my granddad's auction. He always has a New Year's Day sale. And he would sell furniture throughout the year, but his New Year's Day sale was the big one. I would show up during the summer, work a few sales. And this is just kind of what inspired. This is way back. And it's kind of a story to it. But anyway, so my granddad, when he would have these estate sales, and then especially during the New Year's Day sale where there'd be a lot of people come, he'd have cars, guns, saddles, furniture. He would save furniture all year, like fancy stuff. Like this stuff would be in his New Year's Day sale. It wouldn't be in the normal sale throughout the year where you could just get a used couch.
Janky used couches. Ugh.
So, well, he would hire two kinds of people. There'd be ringmen there that could maybe moonlight as a backup auctioneer when he needed a break. They would have on blazers. They would be like Spanky Assiter is one. I grew up around him. If you ever watch the Speed Channel when they sell those fancy cars?
Mhm.
He was like the
Like
first one.
Meachem's and
Yeah.
things.
He was like the first one to be an auctioneer for those. And my granddad was like his mentor at one time.
Spanky?
Spanky
Spanky
Assiter.
Johnson?
Not Spanky Johnson. Spanky Assiter. Anyway, I grew up around him. In the auctioneer world, he's like, He's got a brand,
He's the
like
man.
my granddad did. Well, anyways, those kind of guys would have the blazers on. Then the kind of guys that would bring the furniture up wore polo shirts, and those were halfway house guys. And they get paid cash at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Great guys,
Collar on the shirt though.
but polos. That's who I threw in with. So when I would go to these, Chet would just like sit in the stands and eat popcorn. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and work. I'm here. It's my granddad's. Like I don't want to sit around. Maybe he pays me. Maybe he doesn't. I don't care.
Yeah.
I just help my
I'm
granddad.
gonna be useful human being.
He's the
today.
reason I'm on this earth. So. Anyway, so I jump in with the guys, with the halfway house guys who I know and have worked with, weekends over the summer. I don't know the ring men and blazers.
Yeah.
They just came in for the New Year's Day sale. I know the halfway house guys. So anyways, whatever. The setup has been done. So I'm sitting there and I'm bringing up a lamp and I got on a polo and there's this guy there. I don't think he really knew who I was. Not that it mattered. Not that I want to be treated different, but I think he might have thought I was one of the halfway house guys. I kind of look like that, which is cool.
Honest mistake, man.
I'd rather be thought as one of, I love to be,
I'd love to be a halfway house guy.
well, throw me in with them,
Yeah.
because then I know your expectations won't be too high. I can probably
I can ride this one.
No, I got this. Yeah.
I love to be underestimated. Anyway, his name is Chip. And man, did he boss me around like he thought I was his redheaded stepchild or like his halfway house minion for the day. And I was getting pissed at Chip.
Man, ain't that something? How somebody will treat you?
Dude,
when
it
they
was
think that you can't do
crazy.
nothing
I
for
don't
'em?
know what it was. By the end of the day, I ain't even acknowledging that Chip is standing there. Like I'm like looking through him like he's oxygen. Like I'm done with Chip. Like, dude, I'm not even getting paid to be here, okay? Like, anyway, but
See how different this polo shirt is? It's a different color, Chip.
So I was like, what? And it bothered me. I was like, what can I do to where I never have to work for a Chip? And that was the point. It was a very sick. I remember the moment, and at the time. I had just started duck hunting, and Phil Robertson was under fire for his beliefs. Like he was getting hammered, and it caused me to buy everything Duck Commander. That emotion stirred up, and I was like, and DeWitt Forrest, the judge, the PRCA judge, he had told me when I was a kid at one of them Sankey schools, he was like, if you want to get rich, you need to be in sales.
Yeah.
Because anybody that ever got rich, like rich, did it through sales. Well, I don't really want to be rich, but I figured.
Control your
but I want to. I want to pay my bills.
You don't want to have to depend on somebody else.
And if you can sell something, then you ain't gonna be hungry. Yes. Like the rich part, whatever. I don't need an island, but I would like to pay my bills and not have a boss named Chip.
Yep.
So I'm sitting there and I'm like, what can I sell that would stir emotion, like Phil Robertson and Duck Commander did for me? And I was like, camo with guns in it. Second Amendment camo.
Dale, yeah.
Well, Dale, yeah. And
The answer is always more guns.
so I went back to
Texas.
College Station and I Googled graphic design and Drift Creative popped up. And they made a bad to the bone camo pattern for me. All kinds. Like a duck camo, all kinds of stuff. Cool, a logo. Well, then, like, of course, you go to get it trademarked. There's a lot of things out there with Second Amendment in it. And Peyton's, like, head is spinning. He just, my college roommate was Peyton Holt. And so now, all of a sudden, he's my lawyer. This is, like, his first thing. He's trademarking this for me. His head is spinning. And he's having trouble. And so I went back to these graphic designers. I was like, why my lawyer's trying to figure this out? Can you make... And Dale was going to promote.
Right.
I was gonna be the mascot.
Yeah, and all of us are like,
for the camo.
Okay.
But I was already making videos. They didn't really have anything to do with hunting. They were rodeoing and ranching videos because that's what I'm passionate about. Anyways, I was like, but for some reason my mind didn't go there. It went over here to this camo thing. I like hunting, but if I got to pick between a rodeo and a hunt, you know what I mean? or at least one of those lifestyles, I'm going with rodeo. So anyway, I went back to the graphic designers. I was like, my lawyer's trying to get this figured out. Can you draw up some designs for rodeo time? And they were like, we love this. We will do this for free if we have to.
Wow.
And I was like, good deal, because I don't have much money because I spent it all on Second
And I remember we got the first riding bulls and punching bulls, and the other the other one was rodeo
time and Old Sun.
Yeah, and I remember taking a picture or texting you like, hey, can we wear these in public yet? Like, can we wear these yet? And there's a picture of us. We were going out on date night. We're both wearing our Dale shirts, you know.
Remember when you had the graphic designer sending you the proofs or whatever to look at? That's what you showed us. We were in the at the ranch at the main house that your mom and dad lived in. We were in the kitchen and you were showing us those.
Yeah. And we're like, what is he doing?
Yeah.
Let's go back outside.
So then I just went that direction. And so that was where the apparel got started, which we had already been making videos. And what I realized is that the marketing and the branding came long before the product.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so like we had been setting up for this product to be successful.
Now
Like
it's just not a good
person.
marketing idea. It's what everyone understands that they have to do, you know? Like, but it was so much farther. That's what I meant. It seems so much easier, but it's so much farther. It was so much earlier than everyone really wants to give it credit for, that it was out there on its own. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You didn't know that was going to work. You know, there wasn't any guarantee on being.
I know, but I think it's the same. And I've in different their own respective ways. But Cody's like that too.
Yeah.
Like just like his instinctive decisions that he makes. He's a leader, and he's just.
We were just too dumb to quit.
Huh? No, you're just
the decision to, like, okay, so Second Amendment camo.
Yeah.
That is something that's like this is a good idea. This is a good brand.
Right.
Everything works, you know. It's like, but there isn't. You just mentioned it. There's not near as much passion behind that.
Yeah.
But it's a real opportunity. It could really work, you know. So those distractions come up all the time, you know, and after a while, after you feel like what it feels like to spend time down that, and then feel like what it feels like spending time down something that you really care about and how much easier and more successful that is, then they start showing up a little bit easier as distractions. You know, like I had a conversation this morning that this is something I really believe in with y'all. This is something that I want to be behind, but it's not necessarily something that I have the capacity to do right now, you know. And
did you scratch our Airbnb deal?
no, I didn't scratch
Oh
your
my
Airbnb.
good-
You calm down.
Cut.
Just calm down.
We have to talk off camera.
You just calm down. Anyway, but like your furniture is like that, and you're probably the most skilled person that I've ever spent much time around in that regard, that you have this path that you're on, and these distractions don't come at you as much. I'm looking for a distraction every day.
This is our business path. Like, this is me. Okay. You know, going, this is Jeremy. Ding, 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 ding,
I'm
ding,
trying
ding,
some
ding,
stuff
ding,
out. I
you
may
know?
have to work
That's
4
all
times
right.
harder.
Yeah, but he does, you know,
Sorry.
but it's just different people,
Well,
you know?
I think, and what we did and what happened was Keith Mundy with American Hats told me early on, it was like you pour water on a table and then you see where it goes.
Yeah.
And then that's where you go. And, you know, I poured water on a table and it didn't go in the direction of Second Amendment
But
camo.
even if
It
you
went
might-
in the direction of rodeo time. And so
Yeah.
that's where I went.
Yeah.
And me being passionate about it, all those things came. But like I said, the marketing was there, the branding was there long before the product, and then the product came, and I think that helped us get wins early.
And organically and naturally.
And
that's what
authenticity,
and
because I was
authentically.
passionate about it.
That's what it evolved to, you know?
And there's nothing morally wrong with the opposite. Like if somebody, like I know somebody right now, they want to create a brand and make money. That's okay.
It's just
I'm all
different.
for
It's different
capitalism.
strokes for different folks.
But
you know?
you gotta know the work. Just because you want to start something and you get a good website and it's a good idea on paper and you get a decent product, that doesn't mean that people are going to care. You know, like you've got to give people
and
a
you've
reason.
got to care enough about it to make it spectacular enough to make it easy for people to care about,
Yeah.
you know?
You've also got to just, like, you don't have to, but it's so much easier when it's something that you want to do.
Right.
You know, it's that I want to do this whether I'm getting paid to do it or not.
That's it.
That's exactly
it.
right. I
And
would do it for free. That's
yes.
exactly right. And I mean, we're blessed, all of us, all three of us are blessed in the fact that we get to do something we love to do day in and day out.
Yep.
And we would do it for free.
Dude,
and we get to make a living.
Like you're really talented with building. I mean, you can do all the different stages of building the house, you know, and that is something that I can sense the fulfillment you might get when that project is finished. But I think that the
You know,
thing
he's
that
more like
stands out is like you're able to do all the business stuff better
Yes.
than your average contractor.
And that's the hard part.
And
Like
that's
the
the part,
business,
and it
that's-
pays
it's
better.
the not right, and it is like 'cause
Pays way better.
it's so far and few in between, you know. And like that's the thing. Like the making. I don't know about making videos, but like the making the furniture, that's fun. The building, that's fun, you know.
Yeah,
The
all them
knowing
guys at the halfway house, they can also hang sheetrock.
Right.
Anybody can do that.
Right.
No
Right.
offense to them,
Right.
but like anybody can hang.
Right.
sheetrock.
But how can you figure out what it is that the person needs the most and how you can help them with that instead of just showing up to hang sheetrock? And so those people that really value that are willing to pay you and willing to be loyal to your brand because you're solving something a little deeper than
well, you're providing value to them too. You know, like you're providing value to them and with your product, with your videos, with showing up, you know, and they'll be loyal to you, you know, and if you take care of them, they'll take care of you. And
Yeah.
I suppose.
No, 100%. It's a value exchange.
for sure.
And yeah, the moment that I get out of touch with, the moment it's more about me than it is them, then that'll be the beginning of the end.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And some people may see, you know, if you follow me the week before Black Friday starts and you give me 10 days and it's the one time a year where I actually try to sell something, you might think that value exchange is lopsided. But if you follow me all year, you give me 90 days, I think you'll find that, like, I leave a lot on the table as far as sales, you know, because out of 100 posts, you might find 3 of them where I say dalebrisby.com.
Right.
Well, them other 97, like, I don't know. I think
Well, the thing is, you still have to ask people to buy
yeah,
your stuff.
these 3 guys that are with me, they're on payroll.
Right.
And they're
Right.
getting, like, right now, at this moment, they're getting paid.
I can't help you with the service that I said I was going to if I can't fund the core
Right.
vital function of
Right. If I don't
that
have
business.
electricity in my shop, see,
Yeah.
my air compressor won't run. Yeah.
Your oxygen mask on first.
But the everyday person, I think, understands that.
So your grandpa in Lubbock with the furniture, is that your dad's mom? Yeah, your dad's mom? Or
That's
is that,
Amarillo.
I meant your mom's
He's a
mom?
businessman. He's the entrepreneur.
I'm stumbling through this. The furniture in,
Yep.
is that
Amarillo.
your mom's
Dad.
father?
Yes.
That's what I was trying to stumble through.
Bob Gorey.
Thank you. So anyhow, that's your,
Yeah.
Yeah.
My mom's dad.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was an entrepreneur. That's where the entrepreneur type vibe came from.
your mom is the one that forced me into business.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm
Yeah,
sure
yeah,
I
you've
have
told me that.
you.
Yeah. My granddad was, but he didn't finish high school. He got his GED, and he was like old school and like adamant about everybody going to college and all that. Too adamant, in my opinion.
It's a different
Too
generation.
adamant.
Well, it's a different generation.
Well, like
you
we
know?
were sitting there watching an A&M game one day, and he was like, they were talking about somebody declaring for the draft their junior year, and he was like, "Man, I wish I'd sure like to see them finish college." And I said, "To do what, Pawpaw?" To do
So I can make a good living.
like I got there quick. Like
Yeah.
I was like almost mad about it. I was like, "To do what?" And he's like, "Yeah, I see your point, you know." And I get where he's coming from. That doesn't apply to everybody. This guy's going to make millions, you know.
Yeah.
But that's that generation.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
That was
like,
us too. Like my dad, like he struggled to, you know, he was an entrepreneur, you know, he was, you know, owned his own business, but my whole life it was you're going to go to school and get an education so you can have a good job, so you don't have to struggle like I do.
But I want to go do what I love. Yeah, but you'll always have this to fall back on. Why am I focusing so much on a fallback strategy instead of what I'm actually wanting to go do?
But see, the thing is, like, we can not ridicule them, but be like, oh man, I can't believe they think like that. That iPhone in our hand has changed everything that there is about running a business. Like, I remember when you were selling caps, I was like, dang, he takes such good pictures. And you're like, portrait mode. I was like, portrait mode? What is that? And so it makes it so easy to run a business because of the technology that's available to us, Like I do every, aspect of my business right there in my shop, from marketing to shipping to actually the physically building stuff, because I have my computer and my iPhone in my hand,
Well,
So
I think
it's a different time.
another part of that generation is, like, not everybody's going to be successful at starting a business.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that I am. Like, life is fragile. I'm not saying that I'm bulletproof by any means, but like, I think a lot of the, old timers, the family, the grandparents, the parents, they're scared of somebody failing.
Yeah.
Well, what's a lot safer than being a entrepreneur is being a
cog in a
CPA.
wheel.
Being a CPA, and you get, $48,000 a year and health benefits,
and that's what you get.
And that's what you get.
That's what you get.
Which is fine for a lot of people, and we need CPAs, and we need lawyers, and we need doctors, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But like, there's some of us may not want to do that.
Yeah,
but
take on that risk.
In his defense, my reason for wanting to be an entrepreneur was so I could rodeo.
Right.
And have the freedom to rodeo.
Right.
And now I mean, so it's like you want to go be an entrepreneur so that you can do this super dangerous sport.
Right.
Because he was a businessman, he wasn't a cowboy. My dad and my dad's side of the family was like, oh yeah, that sounds like the normal. I mean, we saw this coming. But he was like, so anyhow, that was the friction. That was the rub there. But
he was like, I was worried about this.
Yeah. So, yeah.
No, it's the freedom of being able, like, that's success. Like, I'll say I'm successful because I get to take my kid to school every morning, whether my boss tells me I can't or not.
Yeah.
You ain't got to call me your boss. You can just call me wife.
I know that's right.
That is funny. People that don't know us probably think I run the choo-choo train. I remember Sterling and Jacobs being like super defensive around me when they first got on, like taking care of Jeremy. Well, then they got to be around him and realize that, he does need a caregiver, but Jeremy absolutely leads this whole family. That was his vision board word for 22 was lead. And he's done it. Like, every ounce of success I've had or business-wise, he's drugged me into kicking and screaming.
What he's best at is making his idea your idea.
Oh, that's so obnoxious. But see, the problem is I'm aware of it at this point, and so I fight it for as long as I can.
Stop it. Don't try to.
Right. But he finally, and I'm like, oh, and he's like, oh, you are hard. I'm like, dude.
You're trying to manipulate me.
Yeah.
No, I'm being kind and I'm making suggestions. Manipulation.
Smudge and arrogant.
and there's the smudgeness.
And there's the smudgeness.
And there's the smudgeness. Oh, man. No, anyhow. So, yeah, 2022. Here we are 9 years later.
9 years? From what?
The first video.
Oh.
Yeah.
Happy anniversary, man.
It was July 1st, 2013 was the first video.
Wow.
Yeah.
You have the memory of something that has very good memory.
And timestamps.
Golly.
I got a few timestamps. Some of them are important. Some of them I can't remember. I mean, like.
I don't.
Is there anything you're good at remembering? Because I know it ain't bucking horses, Jeremy.
Nothing. There's nothing he's good at remembering.
Man,
There's
you got to make
nothing.
room for those new ideas.
He just stumbles through life with his head in his ass and comes out smelling like roses.
Jacobs with bucking horses. Jake Brown with bareback horses. Jake Brown with everything. And then Rostocki with bulls. JB's pretty good with bulls. Like, there's certain people that just is like, they remember the gender, the color, the brand, the name, the rain, everying.
This, however, is not one of those guys.
Yeah.
He doesn't remember. He forgot me at a gas station on the way to a rodeo.
He was telling me a while ago.
Okay, he forgot me. He forgot it when we got to the rodeo. forgot his bronc saddle at the rodeo, and we came on home. Like, I'm not kidding you.
Yeah,
He went to.
It's because you're so dang laid back.
He flew to California without his bronc saddle. Like, all right, I got my purse. I'm ready to go to the rodeo. Like,
So we go in the gas station, and she goes and grabs something to eat. I'm putting Diesel in the ambulance, okay? So I jump in. Well, it had the pass-through where you could walk to the back, right? So she's sitting in the passenger seat with the food.
right, where I'm visible. Like,
I'm talking to her. I hear the diesel pump click. So I jump out to hang the diesel pump up. I hang it up. I jump back in. She's not there. She has stepped in the
and
back.
he didn't think to himself, I wonder where my wife is. He just like, all right.
Put in gear. Got on the interstate.
So, okay, so let's flash from, okay, jump in, she's not there. That's about the time I came walking out of the store. And I see the ambulance pull into the road, and I'm like, what the shit is he doing? Turn. I'm like, no way. I watch him going overpass. I'm like, this freaking idiot. And then turn left to get on 45, and I was like, there he goes. There you go. And I didn't have a purse. I didn't have anything, And so I went inside, and I asked the guys, like, hey, man, can I use your phone? And he was like, and I was like, my husband just left me here. He forgot me at the gas station. He's like, oh, okay. And so I call him, like, beep, boop, boop. And he's like, hello. And I said, do you know where I am? And he's like, oh, okay, I'll be right back. And I was just like,
But I had to take the next exit and come back to where that exit was. So it took me a minute to get back, right? So before we even got to Mesquite to the rodeo, Rick had gotten the story. He had gotten to J.P. Rankin, the cartoon cowboy. Yeah. He had done a caricature of Carlys standing under the Valero sign holding the food with with the ambulance driving down the road with cowboy hats out the window, and it's hanging on the wall behind us because that's where Rick would hang, like the artwork.
I forgot about that. That's hilarious.
So that all happened before the night was up, and with all
and
that going on,
I wasn't even mad at him. He was just like, I opened the door and he's like this. He's got this cheese. And I just got in and closed the door. I was like, you're such an idiot.
I get in, Minions all happy to see me, right? Coming from the back, I'm like, oh, well, she's back there. No, Minions just
don't check or anything.
Looking for food since she stepped out with it. Man.
Oh, man.
No, I told him we were on a podcast earlier, and I told him the story
so this
about.
This is the second podcast that you've done today?
It's my third one
kind
today.
Of a big deal.
So why are we still talking about you?
Oh, well.
Let's talk about me some. What would you like to know? What would my audience like to know?
How long when did you make your first piece of furniture?
Oh, man, don't do that.
Oh, my gosh.
No, actually, the very first chair I ever upholstered was in 2012. I started by painting stuff. And then your mom.
Ooh.
Dude, but if you're going to be, I feel like I'm I don't know what to call myself, an upholsterer in the Western industry. Like, what cooler story is it that my very first customer was Dale Brisby's mom?
Ooh. No, she didn't.
Oh, man.
You can't forget I'm friends with Sterling Crawley, so we like to beat dead horses for 6 or 7 months.
67 months.
Oh, man.
After this podcast comes out, he's going to say it's 6-7 months. Dean is not happy about that joke that just happened.
Dean's having twins. You saw that, yeah?
No.
Twins.
Yeah.
Two more babies.
Good for him. We need more Deanie Weenie string bikinis.
That could have went in the nickname conversation earlier.
Oh, boy, that's funny.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, no, 2012.
11 years. How long's it been? 10 years. I'm already in 2023 because I finally got all my registration on my trailers.
Hey, did you bring me that seat? Jeremy said you're going to get the first gen?
Oh, no, I haven't. But this registration thing. So, I bought these cargo trailers from my granddad. And he just kind of has the titles all mixed up because he owned them all. There was 12. He would go pick up some furniture at an estate. He would leave it in the trailer till it was time to sell it. So it was like a storage unit for him. So he had a dozen of these cargo trailers. So when I went to buy some from him to take to the booths, he would just send me with one, but the titles were all mixed up. Anyways, well then that goes and dies.
Some people can be so inconsiderate.
So inconsiderate. And so I got one of his trailers with it, no title.
Does it have all that furniture in it still?
No. And in his defense, I had the title for the other one. I just didn't get it registered. Anyways, both these trailers are like 7-8 years out of 78 years out of registration. Took them to Vegas last year. Got pulled over. I didn't get pulled over because of no registration. Got pulled over because I also didn't have trailer lights driving through Vegas in the middle of the night. So
people have lights on trailers.
Yeah,
That's
what
a
are
thing.
those
Guess they
things?
do.
Yeah. Well, I don't. Outlaw trucking #. And so anyways, they're just like, they don't know what to do with me. They're like, just finish your trip, sir. How did you make it from Texas here? Like, they didn't want to park a cargo trailer on the side of the interstate in Las Vegas in the middle of the night. So they're like, here's a ticket, but we're not gonna make you park.
Please quit being an idiot.
So anyways, I'm like, I'm gonna get these tags fixed. So I go up to the courthouse and I'm like, all right, listen, because this story is crazy. I don't know if y'all, but like, so my granddad passes away. My grandmother is like, she's got it all together. Like on paper, maybe somebody might say she's losing it. I think she's got it together, but like finding these titles for this trailer that ain't been at her property for for a long time is gonna be hard. But Kent is there, my granddad's right hand man, and still working for my grandmother. Everything's hunky dory. And Kent's he's about to quit, but I can still call him. So he retire per se. So his last day is on a Friday. This is like 2 months ago. And I got to get these. But Kent's there. I'll get them at some point, So Kent's last day is on a Friday. Kent gets a call Saturday morning, and because the cops park next to my Nana's office and watch cars go by. Well, they noticed there's a dang hole in the wall. Somebody broke in and ransacked her office.
Yeah. Threw a hole in the wall.
Right.
Like blew a hole in the wall like it's a cartoon.
I don't know how they dug out a hole. Like there's a hole in the wall.
Okay.
And these cops are like, Kent, you got to get up here. Something's going on, So we go in. Sure enough, they've ransacked the place. Everything's everywhere. Dang, it's going to be hard to find these titles.
Always thinking of others.
My sister's there too. My sister, Chet, my Nana, and I think my Nana's preacher was there for some reason, and then Kent. Kent goes around the corner of the building. My sister's kind of off over to the side. She hears a thump, goes around the corner. Kent had a heart attack. Gives him
You can't catch a break, man.
Gives him CPR, keeps him kind of his pulse going till the ambulance gets there. Doesn't make it. We lost Kent. So that's like a
The day
super
after he
sad.
retired?
Yes.
Yeah, go, man. That's rough.
Crazy. It's crazy. I've been knowing this guy my whole life. Anyways, Dancy's giving him mouth to mouth, and
Goodness.
I never heard
it was his time. Well, it just happened.
Oh,
2 months ago.
this was recently.
Yeah.
Oh, man,
So,
I'm sorry.
yeah,
So
it
it's not
was-
funny yet. I shouldn't be making jokes.
No, it's not.
Sorry,
I mean,
Kent.
like the side story of the like the title and the registration. That part's
I didn't know. I didn't know
silly,
that happened.
but all this part happening. This is the first time I'm saying it out loud,
Oh.
so I'm not trying to tell this as a joke.
I know.
To be
You
honest,
should-
like
you
I
should,
haven't talked about
maybe
this.
like
Maybe I
warn
should have
somebody,
worked
like,
through
hey,
it.
y'all, this is
But
fun.
like, Kent's the man. I love Kent. He knows how I feel about him.
We've
He
heard
knows
you talk about
I'm
Kent.
not making fun of Kent. But yeah. So, anyways, my
Did
sister's
the
right
people
there
at
giving him
DMV
CPR.
Believe you?
Giving him CPR. She almost saves him, and then, but like, so like it was his day because somebody's right there. Like
Yeah.
it was maybe like 9 seconds before somebody's on his chest,
Dadgum.
And anyway, yeah. So I go to the DMV. I'm like, all right, listen. Because my grandmother, she's like, I don't know, It's like the last remaining person that could help me just kick the bucket. All right, like,
You're just not meant to have those
so,
titles.
but I was like, it's September. I need them before December. Anyhow, I think we got it worked out. But I'm like, I'm doing my best not to be an outlaw trucker out here. But all these people keep dying. It's just, I gotta get this dang trailer, these trailers fixed. Anyway,
Lord.
but I did have but to get them registered, you got to go to get them inspected. So
That's why none of mine are registered.
I went to get them inspected, and my man Jay, my main man Jay, yeah, it's my last day here. I was like, oh,
Be careful tomorrow, Jay.
So Jay helped me out. Jay hooked me up on the inspection. So
Hey, why you say his name? You could throw him on. Oh, I guess you don't work there no more.
It's his
oh,
first.
you think his real name is Jay?
It's a leg.
You think I didn't think of that? You think his real name is Jay?
I don't know. I'm not a criminal, so I don't know how these things
I know
work.
just because I wore the polo, I work at the halfway house.
Outlaw trucking.
I'll check man.
There ain't nobody named Jay.
Oh.
Hardly. Anyway, and he
Poor
don't
old
work
Jay.
there no more. What do you think?
You
he
know
lost
who-
his job? Jay
You know,
don't care.
you know who you are,
Probably
though,
got
Jay.
fired for letting people slide under the radar.
Yeah.
Man, I
The
used, I
trailer-
used to have an inspection guy
In
too.
my defense, the trailer is it just wasn't with me, and it's Jay's last day, and I'm about to go to the DMV to meet Kay. Kay hooked it up too.
Yeah. Is Zed in here anywhere, or is
So
he had the
Kay-
day off? You just
Kay and Jay. It was a long day because I had to tell him that whole story I just told y'all.
All
It
right.
wasn't his last day. He was just trying to get you out. You would never believe what these people tell me just to get an inspection done.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll tell you just to keep from you telling me that story. I'll help you with this. Thanks, Jay. Yeah. Turns out my guy that does my inspections is also my therapist now.
Yeah.
Walking through all these stories.
If you need any therapy, you are on the couch.
Yeah.
You're
So.
the first person that's ever sat on that couch. I haven't even ever sat on that couch.
Well, it's an honor.
I just sit out on a scoochy chair in front of it and look at it. It just makes me feel good all over.
It's an honor.
It's pretty cool, isn't it?
It is
Yeah, it
super
feels good.
cool.
Feels
Is
good.
it? Is
You
it
should-
comfortable? Like if you were gonna recommend it to somebody,
Man, I would say this is a nice couch.
so that has Dale's endorsement,
Yeah.
that's worth something.
What's is it the Dave Chappelle deal where he's got the couch and he's doing that skit? He's like, get my feet on this couch. No,
No, that ain't funny, man.
Is it?
I mean,
Wear them in the house, but not on the couch.
Oh, dang, I did kind of get my feet on the couch. That's my
That's
bad.
okay. It's high
that's
quality.
okay.
It'll
Here
be
at Desert Canary Design, we use top of the line materials. That'll wipe right off, sir.
Yeah.
That is a cool couch. You know,
I
a lot
found
of
that
your-
couch in the backyard in San Antonio.
Oh,
It's living its best life, man.
well, it's living its best life
Yeah.
now.
And I messaged the guy. He brought it to Katie, dropped it off at Charlie's house. Charlie brought it up here. Boom. 2 years later.
Had a
couch.
girl. Had a girl.
Yeah.
How much you want for it?
You know, that's what we've been talking about. This is like
OBO
OBO.
It's
Oh,
not
yeah,
on.
no.
It's for sale, not, on sale.
or
Yeah,
best
no, I
offer?
don't know. What do you think, man? So listen, here's the deal. Like my standard cost for a couch, if you call me and say, "Hey, I got my grandma's couch. I want it redone." Starting
No
price.
numbers allowed on the podcast.
Can we not say-
man.
I don't
No,
care.
Can't
Just-
do that.
Why
know
can't
what
you
should
say
do?
that?
Just
You want me to bleep out her number?
bleep it. You should.
Boring.
It's boring.
No, I'm just kidding.
You should. Anyhow, so just conversation wise, and you can delete all this or whatever.
I don't know that it's boring, but it would be super interesting if you did bleep out the number and then we're talking about it so much, but nobody knows what the number is. That's funny.
Yeah.
Anyhow, so I know I could stick it out there for $8,500, no problem. Be gone. I could probably do just fine with 12. 15 makes me uncomfortable. Jeremy and Brandy want me to price it at 20.
Dang.
Right? That's what I said. But but on one hand, I don't care if it sells. But on the other hand, I make stuff to sell. Like my child is gonna get ketchup and Cheetos in that fluff.
Yeah.
So that's crazy, huh?
20 seems crazy.
Crazy. That's what I said.
If
But
Jeremy and Brandy were like furniture salesmen, it may not.
I know.
Why do
but-
you think 20?
So, if you're looking to price something, find your number. You know you can get $8,500 for it. Hey, if you need to eat, sell it for $8,500 tomorrow. But if you have commissioned pieces all day, every day. The piece we're sitting on is commissioned piece. They're beautiful. You put a lot of thought into them. You match them. It's a great service, right?
I know. You
But
don't
that's
tell
the
me.
first.
Oh,
how
tell
long-
me more.
I know. Go on. Go
How,
on.
how long has it been since you made a piece that you wanted to make the way you wanted to make it?
Forever.
Yeah.
I don't know, but for real, this is the first piece I've made.
Okay.
Well, not
So-
first. It's second. But I'm saying I never have time. It's I don't know.
Well, when we're talking about something, this is your design, and you touched every piece of it. So it doesn't matter how much you can sell. It doesn't matter how much you want to sell. You can only make so many things. Only so many handcrafted by Desert Canary design pieces are going to actually come out of that shop per year. So it's not as much about what you want to make or what, or that there's that much value in the chair or isn't in the chair. Like if someone wants that piece and there's only 8 of them going to be made that year or whatever the number is, right? That's the part of the art. That's you can weigh that bronze out on that piece of art that your dad made, but that's not the point. You can go buy another piece of art that kind of looks similar to that to the rest of us from Cavender's for $80 a guy on a bronc, and they made thousands, if not tens of thousands of them. But if that piece of art is out there into the world, it's not about what the piece
functional
of
art
furniture is. It's about the value that somebody's willing to give for it.
Right.
Yeah.
And so you can put that number out there and find it, and it's okay that you don't sell it. You keep it in your collection. It's always available, but it's really not something that you need to sell.
That really
Keep
is
it.
one of the my most favorite pieces I've ever put together, and that's what he was saying. He's like, who cares if it doesn't sell? And I was like, that's actually a really valid point. When the kids move out, I'll bring it to the house, and then it'll be vintage.
Yeah, but what's the number that's high enough that it may not sell, but it might sell?
I feel like 20 is that number. But
No,
what?
I'm thinking maybe because that might be 15.
Be the number
that might be 15.
that it may not sell. Okay, but it's high enough that we would be excited. I
mean, there are people out there that would pay that, no problem. They love it, But are they aware it exists? I want to go find those people. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like
I do too.
I'm looking for them. If you find them for me, call me.
Look at this T-shirt; it's pretty nice.
I'll buy it for you free if you want to buy this couch.
It's only one like it.
Got a stain on it earlier.
I don't know, but I made all the pillows for it, and I'm that print, that's a one of a kind painting that Teal Blake did for me, and
yeah, but you got through the relationships with your dad,
well,
and the Western artist world, and all of that. You've
we
commissioned
you, Mr. Brisby.
You've commissioned Teal Blake to do a painting and then turned that into a pillow, and
No, I can't wait. I haven't
there's a lot.
I don't want to say we're splitting hairs between 15 and 20 because that's 5,000 hairs.
But $20,000 is outrageous.
But I'm just saying, you can make a point for either one. At least you're not. I mean, at least you're not saying 3,500.
Right.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
no.
Because there's just too many hours. It's too much art. It's too much. I mean, it's either 15 or 20.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, because you
Well,
can't.
18.5.
You can't produce something.
That's
kind of
what I
high
was
quality.
thinking. Just dip right down below it
Yeah.
and just.
See what it does. Just let it sit
Yeah.
there. If not, I don't know. But let me tell you, if that couch sells for $18,000, y'all won't be able to stand me.
It's okay to leave a
Cannot
little
believe
on the table. If you were to sell it for 15 and be like, oh man, I could have got 17.5 out of it. All right, well,
But-
that's okay.
It's okay.
For 15, I can sheetrock my room that I want to build.
Yeah, the money, the price seriously does not matter. It doesn't matter
Well,
what
when
the
you're
price
balling
is.
like him, it don't matter.
It's
I guess
what
Us
you're
small
getting
people,
for
it
that.
does.
Do you feel good about what
I'm
you
wearing
traded?
a polo, okay? Came from the halfway house, all right? Price does
He
matter.
peddles t-shirt. He sells merch. Oh, the merch guy.
It's about what you're getting for that price.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. But it sounds like you're trying to pitch a home to me. No. This is your home.
Yeah,
This
forever.
isn't a
Yeah,
house.
Yeah, he does that to me too, and it's obnoxious. You know what's really annoying is that he'll come at me with an idea or a point or something, and I'll argue it back with him, and he will convince me his perspective. I'm like, okay, that makes sense. And then a month later, he's like, oh no, I don't feel like that anymore. That was dumb. I'm like, I told you it was stupid, but I was stupid for you. So he does that to me all the time too.
Well, he's got to be careful with me because I'll remember it for
Hey,
years.
that's real conversations that we've had. He's like, I gotta be careful what I say to him because he remembers it forever.
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 Whoa.
It's like,
You told me in 2017.
if this worked with this, it's like, I would never worked with that. I was
Idiot.
stupid in 2017.
Yeah, I can't believe you listened to me. I'm like, oh, yeah.
Aren't we supposed to always get better? Been getting better for 5 years, and you're holding me to something I said in 2017.
Life advice. That's what we end these with.
Life advice?
Yeah, what life advice do you have?
My life advice on this one is it's easier to do something that you would be willing to do for free for long enough to do it where you don't have to than it is to do something just because it seems like it's an opportunity.
That's more of a business advice.
It's the life I'm in. So let's hear your life advice,
sir.
okay? Life advice is you better watch your tone.
Yeah, stop nagging me.
Yeah, that's life advice. Watch your tone.
I want to cut this thing. Cut.
You're not in control of
Life
the editing.
advice. Man, like I really think life advice, like value and consciously appreciate the good relationships that you have. Because, you think about us, like us three, Jacob, Sterling, Lauren.
Now, who you going to leave out?
I know.
This going to get long.
I know, right? But I'm just saying, like, our core little group, like we've, I don't know, maintained those relationships, and it's, like, super important to us. And
Yeah.
I don't know. Man. I don't know. Can we edit that out?
No.
No, I'm with you. Like
No, it's so, like, just relationships are important.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it never.
The most important.
The most important.
Yeah.
Just, and appreciating them and celebrating the little wins along the way. Like, stopping long enough to be like, man, I made it here. Like, this is a goal. Like, I had 50-something benches in my shop the other day.
Yeah.
And just stop long enough to understand that, like, that is a victory. That is growth. That is production. Like, I had 6 benches 2 years ago.
Right.
And so just stopping long enough to appreciate the victories and nurturing the relationships that make you a better person and being deliberate about who you surround yourself with.
I was so blessed, years before my dad died, with the word premonition sounds weird, but I just think God blessed me with this intuition that my dad was going to die early. And I thought about it often for years before he died.
What did you think when you got that, when they called you? Like when they told you what had happened, like, and you'd had this uneasy feeling that something was going to happen anyway. What did you think? Feel?
So he died on May 2nd. May 1st. That was the first year in a long time that we didn't go to Helotes together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I was going to Paris with Sammy to fight bulls that weekend for some reason. And because I'd picked up Sammy's pro rodeos, but that was an AMI, and he just threw it in. He was like, hey, I need some. That's why I did it, because Sammy asked me, hey, man. Anyway, but normally we go to Helotes every year. Anyhow, so May 1st was a Wednesday, and I was getting in that little car, and I was going north, and he was going south. And he had his pickup horses, and I shook his hand. I can remember what his hand felt like better than I can remember what his face looked like. And we said, I remember what we said, but it's irrelevant. I got in the car and I drove, and that's the hardest I'd ever cried. Right then. That was the hardest I'd ever cried. I knew that was the last time I was going to see him.
That's wild.
Yeah, I cried so hard. I think I might have even punched the dash or something. Yeah. And then the next day I was tying in a bareback horse, and somebody asked me where Jacobs was, and I said he's in Helotes, and then my phone rang in my pocket, and I was like, oh, there's the redhead now. And his voice was not.
Yeah. You knew something.
Yeah. No, I didn't, and I mean I did, but I didn't.
Right.
And
Well,
he was like, hey, yeah. And then I said, I was on the phone with him. I said, Sammy, I gotta go, and he said, okay. And they got somebody else to fight the rodeo, and I drove 90. And then that day was now the new day where I'd cried the hardest. Yeah. So.
Man, it's just like this crazy. It's a shock.
But then for all that whole drive down, so my dad he had told me 2 times, 1 or 2 times, he had said we would be talking. He was just like, man, I feel like I'm supposed to do something great. Like that word, that sentence, he said that I'm supposed to do something great, but he didn't know what it was. Because, he was a big fan of, at the time, there was an author and a speaker, Andy Andrews, who would speak, and he was real influential, and he had a couple cool books. Yeah, The Noticer, The Traveler's Gift. was a big book for me that anyhow. And he was like, I like that, but I don't think I'm supposed to speak. And he was just like, I don't know. I'm supposed to, there's something big I'm supposed to do. And unbeknownst to me, you know, within the next several months, it was pass away.
That's
And
the biggest thing you do in life,
that's
right?
what
Is
I
go to
know.
heaven, right?
And then, like, he just, so he was, I think he was terrified of getting old. You know, it wasn't but 7-8 months before he died that he got on a bucking horse. He was 55.
Yeah.
And at the All Aggie, got on a, and
You know, like, I don't think my
A-Lad
dad,
won it, and my dad was second.
I don't think my dad, like, every time I've ever, like, you know, for all these years, you think about being older, you think about your parents getting old, you think about how it's going to look, you know, and, like, I can't, like, I know what my mom's going to look like. I've never seen my dad old and, like, these, and now, it kind of makes sense, you know, like, I feel like when you're born, your due date is written on stone, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, that was, and then also, you know, getting to see my granddad get old and get dementia, you know, like, so my dad died at 55, picking up horses, you know, was it the first or second? I think it was the first bareback horse out.
No, I don't know if it was the first or not.
And so that was just, you know, obviously, and everybody always says that, well, that's the way it would have wanted to go. And it would, and it is.
But it doesn't make it any better.
It does make it harder, but,
that is a
but I
way to
do
go,
think,
though,
I do think it does matter, I think, in your legacy. Like, it doesn't matter in 100 years, it will not matter. But I think as far as, like, your memory right then, like, it's just,
That's was one
I
of the
do
worst.
not want to go texting and driving.
Right.
Like,
Or scared in a hospital bed by yourself, you know, like COVID got Rick, you know, and like, and that's the worst thing about it.
That part, but I just mean, like, when I say that, like, I don't want to be doing something silly.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to do something that everybody's like, well,
Rick
should've
didn't have any
known better
control
doing
over that.
I know.
Rick didn't have any control over
I
that.
know. It's just.
I mean, I'm just talking about, like,
Stupid.
being an idiot or being, you know, like, I would
Don't
hate for
be
that
an
to be
idiot.
my legacy. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
a legacy. You know, Rick has a legacy, and
Casualty of a war, man. That's what Yaya says.
yeah.
Rick was a casualty of war.
Yeah.
She's right too, man. Like, it's.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a different time we're living in right now.
Yeah.
This is something we're gonna look back on in however many years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like-
I rode to the hospital that night with your dad.
Yeah, she did.
That's the
Trey
thing, man.
Taylor.
Trey Taylor.
Trey Taylor.
Forgot about that guy.
Sorry, Trey. It's been so long since I've seen him.
Now you don't have to edit it out.
Trey Taylor. Yeah. I knew there was a Taylor in there. So, anyhow, but that story is important to me because there's a lot of people that I treat like it's going to be the last time I see them. Like, there's a lot of people. There's people I'll walk away from and I tear up
Is it us?
because I have.
Really?
Yes, absolutely.
Jeez, that makes me feel so good.
I
I
have.
got a tear out of it.
Because I'll,
Did you think we were gonna die and you didn't tell us?
I will force myself to imagine it. And it will give you, like, the most incredible perspective. It's hard.
Appreciation.
And Lisa told me, she was like, you got to stop doing that. I said, I love it. Because it just gives you it makes you treat people differently.
Yeah.
If you can sincerely imagine it, and if you've lost 3 or 4 people like we have, and which there's people out there that have lost more, but once you've lost somebody, it's easier to imagine
Absolutely. My dad dying fundamentally changed me and Mom's
it.
relationship.
Absolutely.
I was
Yeah,
like, oh
I
my
believe
God,
that
I have
100%.
taken her for granted for 36 years. You know, like, I would be lost without her.
And
Man,
but
if she wouldn't have stopped listening earlier for all that other stuff you were saying, she'd really appreciate that.
yeah, but seriously, Lisa was like, "Man, you gotta stop doing that." Because
Yeah.
I was, like, emotional one day, and I was like, it's like the best thing I have. It's the biggest tool I have as far as, like, how I treat people.
Yeah.
It'll make you, you know,
Appreciate that the relationship you have with them.
like, just, you know, tearing up that contract earlier this year that, you know, where I lost $1,500, you know, just to save a relation. You know what I mean? Like, just little stuff like
It's
that.
cool.
Like,
Us,
it's
me
so
and the
easy.
audience, we don't care what y'all are talking about.
It's so easy.
We'll just sit here and
You know
be
what I mean?
lost.
Just, like, lose $1,500 to save a relationship all day.
You're crazy.
Joke's on you. I'd have spent more.
Right.
You know what I mean?
$1,800. Y'all must be balling. What?
I'm not balling. I'm just saying, like, that's how.
Sold that couch yet.
There's people I'd Spartan kick
Yeah,
in the chest
yeah,
off a mountain for $1,500.
Hey, I'm from the halfway house. I'm sitting on a $18,500 couch right
Dude,
now.
we know you got that Dale money.
I'll build it. I'll bid it up.
That
to 20.
t-shirt.
It'll be all right. We'll get it there.
Yeah. Anyway,
I'm just ready for you to laugh at when you're like, "Can you believe I was only going to price that couch at $20,000?"
Well, see, hey, no, that's the thing. That's the thing. I'm like, I remember the first time someone reached out to me about a couch, and I told them $1,000. And they're like, okay, and I was like, oh, this is a scam. And they sent it to me, and I was like, oh my gosh, like
They value what I do in the world.
I was just like, okay, you know. And then I was like, okay, Jeremy, I've got too many orders. I've really got to rein this in. I am not touching another couch for less than $3,500.
Well, that's the thing.
And they were like, okay. And I was like, oh my God, 65. Okay. 85.
That's the only way to balance it.
$20,000.
that's how you do
Crickets.
it.
Slow these folks down.
That's how you do it. Yeah.
We'll see.
That's how an artist does it, I assume.
I'm stumbling through this just like the rest of us.
You're telling Noah about the flood.
Man,
Why do you think I spend 40 minutes a day talking to your husband?
you get 40 minutes out of him?
Oh my gosh.
I don't get to talk
Sometimes.
to him for 40 minutes.
He's one of 4 people that
You
I
know
call.
why? It's because when he comes home in the evening and I'm looking through the blinds and he's out there drinking beer, talking on the phone, I'm like, oh.
Some of my employees, like, they're just like, see me all kept calm and collected and got it put together. But really, I'm making unlisted YouTube videos. All right, this is my situation. And then I send it to you, Keith Mundy, and then like 2 other people. And get like, there's not another Dale Brisby out here that I can just call. Be like, hey, what are you doing? You know, there's.
I know I'm not the same, but same. Like, I
And
don't know
then-
how to price this stuff.
And
You
then-
also don't know.
And then my old man died, both my granddads. So I went in January, did the podcast with Marcus Luttrell, and pretty much asked him, like, hey, can you be my new dad? Not really,
be my
but like, hey, can I? So like,
So do y'all talk much?
well, when it's something serious,
Like,
because
you have-
I'm the patriarch, and it hit me. Took me like a couple years. I'm like, my family and all my employees now look to me for leadership. And it hit me like last year, like a year ago. Like, I think I talked to Jeremy about it, and I was like, it was heavy.
I
And
know.
then
He
met
had that same
Marcus,
epiphany coming home one
and
night.
so when like a national thing happens, like I'm like,
Yep.
so like anything about like the country or whatever, like I texted him like a week ago, like, hey, this is heavy. How do I need to think about this?
What does
and
he
he would
say?
tell
Does he?
So like I'm like big issues.
Right. I
So
know.
like China,
Right.
Russia, or even something big like fear.
Yeah.
What
as,
is fear
as
to
an
him?
emotion?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He sent me this deal. I like had to screenshot it. I might get it tattooed on my ribs. Like this guy's like, but it's usually just like once every 6 weeks or something. But it's so good to have like somebody like that. Like,
Yeah. A real grown up to
know.
talk to.
but you know, somebody who's got perspective is like, we've got perspective on certain things in life. He's got perspective on stuff that affects the whole world.
Right.
You
Yes.
know what I mean?
Yeah. You know, and like it is real easy to get scared about stuff like that. And Jeremy's
Right. And
one of
they'll
the
calm me
right.
down.
Jeremy's got a buddy in one of those groups that he's in. That's a Marine something or other.
Yeah, he was a special ops in the Air Force, and he has that different geopolitical mindset because of the experiences he's been in.
He makes
Yeah.
me
That
feel better
will.
too when he talks about, you know, stuff. I don't know if we can talk about this unclassified things. I don't know, just like the things he says, you know, and he's like, oh, you know, that's just, you know, don't watch the news so much.
Yeah, which I stopped doing. But anyway, so yeah,
Man, I hope we said some interesting
that
stuff.
was our life advice. Thank you for listening to this episode of Rodeo
The
Time.
end.
We are on to the next one. Don't forget to text podcast to 940-353-0890. Pow pow.
I hope we said some interesting stuff.
Yeah, check out Desert Canary Design.
Oh, yeah.